Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, and with me as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, and Iron Man, Steven. What's up, buddy?
And purveyor of Dr. Pepper cream soda. The light is too I ruined it. Hey,
do you need to do a restart there? Or are you good?
Just no.
Nah. Let's
just roll with it.
Look, Steven's over there on his ivory tower where they have Dr. Pepper cream soda. I can't find anything. I crashed at Steven's place this weekend and he graced me with, it was like he brought out his finest wine, from like the cellar. Like a nice aged wine he brought to me, and he was like, I have 2 cases of these. You may sample, but I will notice if a case is missing.
Yeah. I said, you are welcome to them, but don't rob me.
Yep. I didn't. I had the one you gave me, and then when I woke up the next day, I had one, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
So, but I have told everyone else that I know that if they see some at the grocery store, to buy me 4 packs, and I'll pay them back. So if you
is 4 your limit?
No, there is no limit. 4 is just my suggestion. 4 is my number.
4 is the minimum.
No, I mean business, right? Like, because if you say, hey, if you see a pack of those, get me one, right? Like, you're just gonna get me a pack. I'm letting you know that if you see those and you can buy the store out, I'll pay you back for them. So
it's like Parks and Recreation when Ron Swanson goes to the diner and he says, just bring me all the bacon and eggs you have. And the guy turns it, and then he grabs his arm and he goes, I'm afraid what you heard me say was bring me a lot of eggs and bacon. What I said was bring me all the bacon and eggs you have.
Wow. Well, this is Chortlecast, and though we do like talking about cream soda and bacon and eggs, it's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. We've got a great show for you this week.
Well, what if I want to talk about bacon and eggs?
You know what, Steven? You can. It's whatever we want to talk about. That's the. I literally just ended the intro with that. We got a great show for you this week. We're going to talk about all about Marvel's Avengers from Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics. We're going to also talk about the Mario Direct that just kind of got shadow dropped celebrating Mario's 35th anniversary. So, and then Steven's got some Division stuff he wants to talk about. I watched the first episode of The Boys on Amazon Prime, so I'm going to talk about that. So it's going to be a great, chill show. And apparently Steven wants to talk about bacon and eggs. Steven, this is your transition to bacon and eggs. Anything else you want to comment on?
Yeah, it's really funny because while we're recording this, I'm actually playing 7 Days to Die on my PC. And I'm doing this because I'm at a low stakes part of the game where it's the nighttime and I'm stuck in my shelter. So I'm just, doing upkeep, making food and inventory management. Yeah. So it's chill. I can focus on what we're doing and also do other things, multitasking.
So
I actually just made bacon and eggs and it had nothing to do with the fact that I pulled that quote out and I realized, oh my God, I'm making bacon and eggs right now. And I didn't even make the mental connection. I said that quote because of Ron Swanson, not bacon and eggs. Everything is connected.
Everything is connected. I had bacon and eggs this morning. So speaking of everything being connected though, I do want to bring out this. So Steven's wife, Anna, who, if you follow us, you've probably seen her on some sort of content. She has a podcast with one of her friends called Pop Culture on the Rocks. They talk about reality TV shows and they just did an episode on Netflix documentaries. So go check that out if you're interested in that sort of stuff. But their whole gimmick is, and I say gimmick, one of their things is while they're recording, they are actually drinking something. So like one of their early segments is like, what are you drinking today? So I'm wondering, Steven, if we should implement something of like, what are you playing right now? Like we start playing things while we record the podcast. And what would be even funnier is if we captured what we were doing and just let that roll in the background and like just no audio.
I can hit
no audio, just the action of what we're doing while we're playing.
I was gonna say I could hit record right now, but I'm already recording. It would take some some doing.
It would take a lot of doing on my part at this point, but I kind of like the gimmick. So I want maybe next week or in a few weeks when we
let us know in the chat or the comments if that's a gimmick you would like us to see, is that I am just playing a game while we're recording this, because I'm going to be honest, I usually am anyway. So I can capture what I'm doing and you guys can watch it.
I think that would be a fun little gimmick. Maybe not for every episode, but I think maybe the next week. So I have a wedding this weekend that I'm filming, but maybe the next weekend we could try that for the podcast and see how that goes. So anyway, that could be really fun. Yeah. I'm sure it would bring up lots of distracting elements to the video.
I mean, that's how most people do. Most people that do gaming content do their videos. They're like, hey, let me tell you about the latest news in this game. Also, here's random unrelated gameplay of me playing this game.
Absolutely. Okay, enough early banter. Let's dive right into the
bacon
news.
And eggs. What? Webster's Dictionary defines bacon and eggs as... I'm done.
Is that going to be our new term? So whenever we say... I really like the idea of, instead, like, most people, they just have a banter. But what if we just started saying, okay, that's enough bacon and eggs. Let's move on. Let's move on.
That's pretty good.
I like that. I think that could be good. All right. Anyway, enough bacon and eggs. Let's talk about some of the gaming news from this week. Obviously, there's lots of other stuff. But this is I've boiled it down to bits that Steven and I really want to talk about. So one of those is the Nintendo Mario Direct, celebrating Mario's 35th anniversary. Steven, did you? I know I sent that link to you and Brody when it all happened, but did you happen to?
I had something going on that day. That may have been the day that my internet was out or something. So I didn't actually get to watch the Direct.
You were dealing with all of that.
The day Avengers came out is when I was dealing with that. So maybe it wasn't that day. Something was going on in my life.
Something was happening. Well, Nintendo just kind of shadow dropped a Mario Direct. And I'm trying to get a list of all the announcements because I flagged a video, which is just not the best thing to do sometimes. But anyway, they shadow dropped a Mario 35th Anniversary Direct. And we've had rumors for a while. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but they've had rumors for a while that there was a bunch of remakes of, like, Super Mario Sunshine was like the thing that kind of like not red flag, but like caught my eye. People were talking about there was rumors that was going to be coming to the Switch along with tons of other Mario games. And so this was kind of the fruition of all of that. To middling success and concern. There's a lot of weird, very Nintendo choices about what was announced in this Direct. So I'm just going to blast through some of these and then we can pop in and talk about some of the stuff. So one of the first things they announced.
You go ahead and start. I'm going to make sure my dogs are not destroying my home. Okay. And let them outside. So you start and then I'll pop in.
I'll save the best for you, Steven.
Cool.
So there is a limited edition Game & Watch system that is going to be launching, which you'll be able to play the original Super Mario Brothers on, which is cool. Any collectors, that you got going on, they might find that interesting. Weird choice for me, but whatever. I'm looking here. There's also this was a fun announcement, Steven. Did you ever play Super Mario 3D World?
No, honestly, like the number of Mario games I've actually played is quite small.
Super Mario 3D World, Brody had a Wii U before I did. I was very much one of the people that was so confused about what the Wii U was. I didn't realize it was like a new console.
You were a human being.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Brody had a Wii U, and he had this game, and when we were roommates, we would play this all the time, and it was ultimately what convinced me to, like, okay, I need to get a Wii U. This stuff is fun. So Super Mario 3D World is coming to the Switch with a new Bowser's Fury content in February of 2021. I'm very excited about this announcement because 3D World is great. It's very long. Like, there's a lot of content in that game already, but now adding more. And it kind of looks like what they showed in the trailer almost made it look like it was going to be like a free roaming kind of like open world type thing instead of a normal like side scrolling Mario thing, which it's not necessarily side scrolling, but like, you know what I mean? Like you're on a path, you're going somewhere. So I don't know that for sure. That's just kind of what it looked like. It looked different. But also, so in addition to that upgrade or new content being added, there's going to be online play. So one of the big things, like I said, Brody and I would play this game together, and we were just trying to get through all the levels and everything. So now we can play online and just, get through all the levels. Brody, if you're watching this, you and I need to finish because I don't know that we ever beat all of the levels in Super Mario 3D World. Sure, we're going to have to start over, but we should go back and do that. So anyway, that was a great announcement. They announced Super Mario Brothers 35, which is basically Tetris 99 but Super Mario. And
what?
Yes. It's launching on October 2020 for anyone who it's going to be free to play for any Nintendo Online subscribers. However, like many things, it's going to be going away in March of 2021. So, and then we'll circle back around to that point because that's a real weird point to have, but it's a theme of this direct. The next thing, Steven, are you a big fan of physical video game toys?
Not a big fan, but they can be cool if done well.
Well, here's something that is actually pretty cool, I think. They announced Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, which is a physical Mario Kart cart that has a camera on the back. You control it with the Switch, and you can see what the camera sees. And through augmented reality, it creates other racers, and you can race around your home. And they showed how it works. Basically, there's you paint a course, and so you drive what you want the course to be, and you set up these little physical like goal finish line placement things, lap counters, I guess. And basically, you build the course in your home, and then you hit go, and you can race it, and you have items, and the items affects your cart. There's going to be a Mario Kart and a Luigi Kart, and you can actually race both of them together. And like, if I threw a banana at your Luigi, it would actually stop your cart. So very, very cool. I'm not interested in it, but like if I was a kid, that would be the coolest thing ever. So we were born just a little too early, Steven, just a little too early.
I don't know about that.
Maybe not. But so Mario Kart Live Circuit, that's going to be fun. There's all sorts of challenges you can do to get a Mario Brothers 35 anniversary pin set, which I'm a big fan of pins. Splatoon 2 is doing a Mario Brothers themed Splatfest, and there are t-shirts you can get for that. Animal Crossing New Horizon is doing some Super Mario themed stuff. And then to get to those remakes and remasters I was talking about, there is going to be a Super Mario All-Stars coming to the Nintendo Switch Online SNES collection. It launched the day of the Direct. So if you want to go play all the classic Mario Pixel 2D games and you have Nintendo Online, it's all there. You can go play it right now. Cool. Then Super Mario 3D All-Stars brings Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy 1 into a bundle that you can get. It's coming on September 18th, I think is what it was, to the Switch. And it's only available until March 31st, or March of 2021, which makes little to no sense to me, but is a weird deal. A lot of these things are only going to be available up until a certain point.
It's that Disney Vault method.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are.
It's supply demand. Nintendo. It's scary because people don't really think of Nintendo in this way, but when it comes to the concept of supply and demand, Nintendo understands it better than anyone else in the market, like the gaming market. And like the Amiibos, that's a great example.
There's a Cat Mario and a Cat Peach amiibo coming as well. So if you're excited about amiibos, there's that.
If you're excited about amiibos, who are you? Because I feel like you would be the first person who has even said the word amiibo.
I'll tell you, the only amiibo that I am like proud to own and use frequently is the Wolf Link amiibo, and I use it on Breath of the Wild to summon Wolf Link. That is the best use of an amiibo I've seen.
Don't get me wrong. I like the amiibos. I think they're cool. And I mean, even as just figurines, that's neat. It's a cool collectible. Like I've got Lucas from Smash, Robin from Smash. Really happy that I've got the Robin one because Robin's one of my favorite Fire Emblem characters. I've got Mega Man, Toon Link. I like that they exist, but Nintendo knew they'd be a big deal. And so they made them very limited in quantity, so that when they could re-release them, they would sell like hotcakes, which is exactly what happened.
Well, and that's kind of the prevailing theory is that this bundle is a limited time, but probably after March 1st, these will be available
back on the holiday season or something.
And some of the complaints is, like we just talked about Mario 3D World, which was a Wii U game. It's coming to the Switch, but it's getting new content. It's online now, blah, blah, blah. They've up-resed and like the GameCube obviously was still, it wasn't in HD, so it wasn't full screen. They've updated that for Sunshine. I forget what they did with Galaxy. They did like some smaller, just make this look and feel a little better to those. But for the most part, it seems like they're just straight ports, of like here's the game. It's not optimized necessarily or anything. It's just I guess optimized is the word I'm looking for. It's just a little optimized. It's not here. There's not a brand new level. There's not a brand new anything with all this, which 3 games is a lot of content for one pack. And they didn't list a price. I'm assuming it's going to be a full price game, if not, a little bit more than that. But anyway, I don't know. I'm excited because Sunshine was probably, I played Mario 64, never beat it. Sunshine was one of my favorite GameCube games, and so I'm really looking forward to going back to that. And then I actually missed out on all the Galaxy. I think I played a little bit of Galaxy 2. I'm not in the crowd who just talks all about how great Super Mario Galaxy was. So I'm pretty much getting this for Sunshine, and then I'm going to enjoy the other 2 as bonus. So, but anyway, so Steven, you haven't really played many. Did you ever play Odyssey?
No.
Really?
I played the Wii Super Mario with my sisters. That's the main one, and then I played the re-release of the Wii U one, like just the regular side-scrolling one.
The
with
Brothers, I think it was, or what was it? I know what you're talking about. It's the one with.
It was the one. Was it the Luigi one? Luigi U?
There is a Luigi U one, but
I think it was adjacent to that one. I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I played that one with Anna, and those are pretty much the only ones aside from like old classic ones that I've played.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well,
but I may pick this up. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, if you don't,
it just depends on like
you can play. So you didn't play Sunshine either? Oh, Sunshine.
Never played a 3D Mario game.
Man, Sunshine was so good.
That's what I've heard.
Because and what I really like about Sunshine is you had Luigi's Mansion and then Sunshine, and they didn't launch super close to each other, but they're connected, right?
Yeah, right.
Luigi, the man, and I'm Egad, who made Luigi's Vacuum, also made Flood, which is the water squirting jetpack thing that Mario uses in Sunshine. So I always, as a kid, was just like, oh, look, it's Egad did that. That's so cool. Like, I thought it was really fun. But anyway,
yeah,
I'm excited for that one. That's going to be good. Let's transition. I don't have a good transition here. I'm just going to teleport, you could say, to the next story. It's the best I got. We had so Marvel's Avengers launched this week. If you pre-ordered a very specific edition of the game, you got to play the game 72 hours early. And so that would be Tuesday instead of the game launching on Friday. Is that right? Am I right?
That's correct. Right there? That is correct.
So to celebrate the early launch, Marvel's Avengers hosted its third war table.
Yes.
Third war table. Basically just talking about, hey, game's launching today. We're going to talk through what you can be doing as you're playing the game and as you're getting into in-game content. And then they announced the first post-launch hero, which at this point, the only one that we've really had an announcement for was Hawkeye. So,
which they also said was the first post-launch hero.
They did, didn't they? That's what I thought as well.
But
so
I guess it's like, well, Kate Bishop is technically, she's Hawkeye too. So, which I don't know. It seemed weird. It seemed like a really weird choice.
Steven,
but continue.
Steven stole my thunder. Kate Bishop is the first.
Did you not already say Kate Bishop?
I had not, but that's okay.
Oh,
I was getting there.
Man.
I had set up that Hawkeye was supposed to be the first one, and then you said he was supposed to be the first one, and I was about to be like, well, maybe they got their archers confused because Kate Bishop is going to be the first one. But that's okay.
That would have been good.
It would have been good. So Kate Bishop in the comics, she's kind of I don't know if sidekick is really the best word. Let's just say partner. She's a partner to Hawkeye. She's an archer, as far as I know in the comics, she doesn't have any superpowers or anything. She
does not.
She's an archer, just like Clint, Hawkeye. So there you go.
She's an Olympic gymnast, I think.
Well, there you go. But apparently in the game, she's going to have teleportation powers. Steven and I are kind of thinking it's some sort of device.
If you look at the way the teleportation, like the effect used, it looks very similar to either Theo's teleport.
Yep.
Or like what AIM uses to teleport things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, which they probably got from Theo.
I don't want to. I have not. We're going to get into like our thoughts on the game because we've both been playing it. Steven has actually beaten the campaign. I have not. Yep. I have actually not even caught up to where I was in the beta yet, which is just I've been way too busy. But based on what you just said, Steven, I'm assuming that what I thought happened in the first couple minutes of the game maybe doesn't come to fruition by the time the campaign ends. But at the very beginning, when Kamala first starts running from AIM, there's an AIM agent who, at a certain point, Kamala's like, is she helping me? And she keeps running. My theory is that's Kate Bishop because she teleports.
That would be the wrong guess. Okay. But like, it's really obvious what's going on when that one of the things about the game's story. I mean, do we want to get into this now? Do you want me to just tackle that later?
No. We'll come into that later. We'll circle back around. So anyway, Kate is going to be the first post-launch hero to launch. It looks like she's going to have teleportation powers, but other than that, she's still an archer. So we assume she's going to operate similar to Hawkeye, but hopefully they're going to make it a little bit different. There's going to be new story content. It's going to be overarching in the Avengers Initiative storyline.
Nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's going to be adding new regions. So anyway, we're going to get a new hero. All this is free content too, correct?
Correct. All post-launch content is free, except for the
challenge card. That's the only thing you would have to pay for, which you technically don't have to pay for. You can earn the credits to purchase that. It just would take a lot.
It just takes time and just basically you playing the game.
Yeah. Other things they highlighted in the war table, they talked about some different game modes. So they kind of talked about the first raid. I think. Did they? No, hang on. I'm getting here. One thing I'm trying to find the terms, but there was a hive,
hives and mega hives, I think is what they're called.
Yeah.
I haven't done that stuff yet.
I might be tired of IGN. They're not giving me the information I want anymore. You know what I mean?
Do I need to stop building my house and start looking stuff up to help you?
No. I got it. Okay. I got it. So Steven, you've got to get more into Endgame than I have. What are some of the things you find yourself doing?
So I've been pacing myself a lot with Endgame, especially since around the time I beat the game is when Division started doing all their stuff, which I'll talk about at the end of the show. So I haven't played a ton of Endgame, but basically there's the reassembled storyline, which is the main campaign. And that you can pretty much from start to the point where you beat it, you can just do that and then that story's done, but the Avengers initiative is still going on.
Right.
As far as Endgame is concerned, there are like villain sectors, which I did one where you fight Taskmaster. So the villain sectors are like boss fights. There's a bunch of individual war zones, which are like one-off missions and stuff. There are quest trees with like the different factions that all have their own stories. Each character has their own unique story. Like Thor's has to do with some kind of imposter Thor, which very well could be Loki. I don't really know what's going on with that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know, but so like all the iconic missions is what they call them. You have to play as that character, but it is a story that is like Thor's. I don't see a tie with the reassembled storyline.
Right.
So the reassembled storyline is like the main focus of the quote unquote campaign, I guess. So like the linear path, but there is a bunch of side stuff that all tells its own story as well.
Gotcha. I found what I needed if you want me to pick in and jump in.
Go for it.
You mentioned villain sectors. That's special missions where you basically end in a bite foss. You mentioned Taskmaster. There's Abomination, some other folks you can fight. There are shield vaults, which in the beta, kind of a big thing was like some people found this, even though no one knew it was supposed to be in there.
Yeah. I have been doing a lot of vaults.
Yes. Vaults are really good. It's something Nick Fury, when he went missing, he set up hidden shield vaults. Players can unlock these to get, gear and all that good stuff. You mentioned the Avengers initiative. There are world events that are going to help keep the game fresh. They're going to take place over weeks. Some will be seasonal. They're going to have cosmetics and stuff attached to them, so that'll be a lot of fun to keep it kind of fresh. There's going to be a Shield Substation Zero, which is a new resistance outpost. And I'm sorry, they're talking about some other stuff here. It's going to be available shortly after launch, so we technically don't have this yet, but it's going to be a social space after temporal
that's going to release
anomalies.
That's going to release with Taking Aim, which is the introduction of Kate Bishop's story.
Okay.
And that's going to be you get Kate Bishop first.
Right.
Her story is going to lead into the introduction of Hawkeye as a playable character. So I think the roadmap is Taking Aim is going to come out in October. And Kate Bishop will be in late October. And then Hawkeye is going to be in November, I think, is what they're going for.
That would be a really quick turnaround.
I'm hoping it's that quick. That's what people are thinking. But they have said characters will release, quote, quicker than you think. So I'm hoping that for like the first few months, at least maybe leading up to 2021, we get a new hero every month.
That would be cool. I'm still really curious what they're going to do with Spider-Man. I just am so curious what that's going to be like.
Yeah, I am too. But my understanding is that like each new update that they do may not necessarily include a new hero, but that will be kind of like, think Destiny and how when they release an expansion, it's a new story. But unlike Destiny, it actually matters. Because with Destiny, it's always like, oh, here's the threat that's popped up. And you're like, but what about the other threat? And they're like, That doesn't matter. You've already played that expansion.
Yeah.
Forget about that now. Here's this other thing. So with Destiny, it's like branching off into all these individual like monster of the week kind of things. But with Avengers, it seems like the story will be progressing and building off of what's set before it, which I like a lot. And I'm not saying like, that's not me like taking shots at Destiny. It is, but that's not me saying that Avengers did it better than Destiny. That's me saying that the proposed method that Avengers is claiming to be doing, I much prefer.
Yeah.
Because it adds weight to each content update. That way you don't get disappointed, or as disappointed at least, when this new update that they're coming out with doesn't have a hero. It's just story stuff. This way, hopefully, if they do this right, those updates won't be disappointing because you're just like, oh, cool, new story. I get to find out what happens next, not what happens over there.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So this is the raid I was talking about. So we're also going to be able to take on AIM's Secret Labs. These are going to also drop shortly after launch, and probably like what you were saying. They're going to be a true test of late game co-op team play. They'll only be available once a week. The lab must be completed within a set time limit, and concludes with a huge boss fight. I say time limit. It says time window, and I'm gonna make sure I clarify that because I don't want Steven to be like, this is another time mode, because I don't think that's what they mean.
Yeah, it's probably accurate to how I would respond.
Concludes with a huge boss fight, and will take some strategic thinking and from a 4-player team. So I am curious to see if Steven and I will be able to do this with just some two of Steven's characters buffing us, and how will that go?
I'm gonna turn Captain America into a walking American flag, to where when you see it, you are roused with patriotism and just the will to fight.
Okay.
That is gonna be my Captain America.
I can't wait.
And I'm going to build my Hulk to be just a quick side note. I unlocked the ability for Hulk to grab 2 enemies and use them as nunchucks. His hold down triangle move, he takes them and smashes them together like cymbals and creates a shockwave.
That's awesome.
So Captain America is going to be a walking American flag. The Hulk is going to be that guy in band that always punctuates everything with the...
I was going to say, he's one of those monkeys, those symbol monkey toys.
Yes, he's going to be the symbol monkey.
There you go. I love it. They'll lead us to victory. They also introduced the Mega Hive. I'm really excited about these. The Mega Hives, also going to be a post-launch thing. It's going to be a solo. It's something you can do as a solo challenge. It's a weekly mission type that will test your full roster as you fight your way through a descending floor with increasing difficult enemies. When one hero goes down, another will take its place. After your full roster is defeated, you'll have to start over from the beginning. So
yeah,
kind of a horde mode. And now looking at it, it did say solo. I was kind of assuming that we could play this with other people and it would just cycle out heroes, but maybe not. Either way, that sounds like a fun mode to me.
It seems like it'd be hard for them to do in co-op, because if you're going through your characters,
how would that work?
What happens when both of us only have Black Widow left?
That's a good point.
So, which I'm fine with that, because I do think that in games like this,
it's good to have some solo content.
Right. There's this tendency to just be like, you need to do everything with the team. And I'm, of course, that person that whenever I play games like this, I prefer to play with people. But the fact is, not everybody has people. So if I am trying to do some challenging content and no one is available, then I have this to do. That's great. I'm glad that they're offering stuff for those solo players. And I think it's a creative idea, because then it does reward people like me who are just like, ooh, I'm going to do this with my Hulk to make him do this cool thing.
Right.
So like it incentivizes you to further build those characters beyond just knowing that they'll be your AI companions.
Well, not only that, it's going to be a good incentive, or it's going to be a good way to build those other characters, because there's going to be characters that are going to slip through, especially as we add more to the roster. There are going to be people who slip through the cracks. So, all right, that's enough of the news of Marvel's Avengers. Steven and I, as I said, we've been playing. Steven has played a lot more than I have. Steven has beaten the campaign and has plenty of time in the Avengers Initiative mode. The very first thing I played was the Avengers Initiative mode so that I could get to Cap and I could get to Thor. And I'm happy to confirm that I love both of their play styles, and I can't wait to unlock them and start leveling them up fully and getting all into that. I've done a little bit of the story. Like I said, I really am just now getting caught up to where I was in the beta. I've only got Kamala and Thor. I mean, not Thor, Hulk at this point. So I've got a ways to go. But overall, I mean, my thoughts haven't really changed from the beta. The only thing that I really can add is I'm loving the story so far.
Yeah.
And even if, and I know Steven will probably mention this a little bit, but I love the performance of the story. The story content is really well done and is enjoyable. So regardless of where it goes, and Steven, I know we'll talk about this, but I can't wait to just enjoy the ride of where it's going. I really like these characters that they've created and built. So, but I'm ready to get through and unlock people and really start working on my Thor and my Cap and all this stuff, all stuff that Steven is already getting to do. So I'm going to sit back for a second and just let Steven tell you about this game, because he's, like I said, he's got way more experience in it than I do right now.
So what you said about the performances,
yes,
is very important, because that is something that always is the strongest point of the story, in my opinion. Kamala is a great lead. She is such an endearing character from the moment that you meet her as this nervous girl who writes fan fiction, who's just really excited to meet her heroes. Very relatable. They do a great job with her as the lead, as the surrogate for us in this world of finally seeing our heroes in a video game taken seriously. That's not movie licensed. Troy Baker steals, even though it's not always like very rarely does someone need to steal the scene, but Troy Baker's like, hey, I'm gonna carry this scene on my back every single time he's in there as Bruce Banner. And the other people are like, but hey, we're good, like we're good, we've got this covered. And he's like, I know, but I'm gonna flex every single time I'm in this, because Troy Baker is such a good Bruce Banner. Possibly my favorite Bruce Banner, just ever. So nailed it casting him. And I was, again, I say this every time, but I feel like I have to eat my words every time. I was like, no, he should be Captain America instead of Bruce Banner. I regret that. Past Steven, you're an idiot.
Past Steven, you suck.
You suck. Just like your father. But Nolan North, I was worried about him because of his combat banter. It's not, it ranges from cringy to just Deadpool, just literally Deadpool. And I think I said this, that I wasn't too worried that he would nail the actual like story moments. And I'm happy to say that he does. Nolan North makes an excellent Tony Stark in the story. Right. It's just that whenever, I don't know if they didn't give him direction or they gave him the wrong direction or they just took his lines from another game entirely. But it just does. He doesn't sound like Tony when he's like doing the combat banter stuff. He's just the guy who tells jokes, right? Which is not in essence how Tony talks. But in the story, he's great. He makes a really good Tony. He's compelling. He's conflicted. Really good. I'm impressed. I'm very pleased. The guy who plays Cap, I feel bad for him because he didn't get a lot in this game, but he does a good job. He manages that inspiring presence pretty well. Like, I want to listen when he's talking. He's very commanding, which that's all you really need. And then freaking Colonel Mustang playing Thor is a great Thor. And some people have said that they don't like him as Thor. I disagree. I think he's fantastic. He has that arrogance, that arrogant bravado, but a different kind of arrogant bravado that Tony has, because they both have that.
Right.
His is more of just like a god complex. But in his case, it's Thor. So, but he handles that well because you don't dislike him for it. It's more of like an inspiring confidence, and I appreciate that, and it's just really good. And the part that disappointed me, because the story ultimately was a disappointment. Not to say it was bad, because it was good, and I enjoyed it quite a lot.
And I'll intersect. We're not going to talk spoilers, but this is just opinions on the story. But
Right.
go ahead, finish.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk like specific spoilers. I'm not going to allude to spoilers either necessarily, but I will just give like overhead thoughts without naming any specific points. But MODOK was underused. I compared him to Gaul to you from Destiny 2, to where it was like you get those moments with him where you see like him planning and everything, but ultimately it doesn't.
He was just
come to a head. Yeah, it doesn't come to a head very well. And
Which is ironic,
at the end of the
MODOK is nothing but a head.
All head, yeah. But what is strange to me, and this is kind of why I say he was misused or underused or whatever, I walked away from him in the story thinking, why did they even need MODOK? Why didn't they just do something else or use someone else until they decided to use MODOK correctly? And I don't know, they may not be done with him. I don't know. But and also there's a certain point you can tell that the priority of this main campaign was not to defeat MODOK, to defeat AIM or whatever. It was to get the Avengers back together, because you see them crumbled. You see them you see the world dealing with what it's like to be a world without the Avengers. And that's interesting, because you get to see what the characters did when the Avengers broke up. The fact that Stark Tech was
liquidated,
bought out.
Yeah.
Like, they were liquidated. AIM owns all of Tony Stark's stuff, basically. That was a really bold and interesting concept, because Tony is just over it. And I like that, because, in the MCU, Tony is very much like he's taking the entire responsibility of the fate of the world in his hands. He has that savior complex, but in this game, he's just over it. And I kind of like that. And it's just interesting to see him kind of work with what he has. Like even the first costume you get for him is the one where it's just his pre-Mark I suit, where it's just the boots and the gauntlets,
the suit
and the helmet.
Refuses to take off.
I love that suit because one, it helps with your peripheral because there's less of a bulky armor suit when you're flying, so I can see more. But two, I think it's a really interesting take on Iron Man, to where it's less about less of the armor and more of the man.
I do
less
really
of the iron, more of the man.
I'm sure we'll talk cosmetics at some point, but I really do like that every character has some sort of like casual look. Like Thor has 3 or 4 just him in a t-shirt and jean look, and it's just like this is suddenly somehow my favorite Thor costume. I don't know why. And then same with pretty much all of them. I don't know about Cap. Cap might not have one, but there is a shirtless Cap.
He's got one that looks like it's not casual. It just looks like a Cap jumpsuit. Basically, it's the one you unlock him.
Yeah,
in.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like they all do have a fairly casual outfit, and I like that too. But so regarding what I was saying about like they're very much mostly concerned with just getting the Avengers back together. The story just kind of rolls through the rest of it once all the Avengers are back. It just kind of figures out where to end. But the story is not over. It's this game is very much meant to be experienced like over time. Because at the end of the story, and this isn't really a spoiler because you could probably guess, aim isn't done
right
at the end of the story. You're still fighting. That's what the Avengers Initiative is all about. So the launch campaign, the story campaign of the base game is bringing the Avengers back together. That's why it's called the reassembled storyline. And so, I mean, all in all, again, I enjoyed it, but I was just disappointed because it could have done more, but I can't say that it's like poorly written or anything yet because they're not done.
Right.
Like maybe after year one, the whole AIM arc will be done. I don't know. But I do think that more so than other games as service titles, I do think that Avengers has a story to tell and they aren't going to waste our time telling it. We're not going to be waiting for black pyramids in space to make their way to Earth for 3 years.
Right.
And I know I'm picking on Destiny a lot, but Destiny is notoriously bad. Ever since Destiny 1, they are notoriously bad at putting the story, like about executing a big picture story.
Right.
They tell isolated stories with interesting lore, but like what happens in Dark Below in Destiny 1 has nothing to do with House of Wolves. Stuff like that that I know of. But and I do legitimately think, and I really hope I'm not wrong, I do think that this game will handle that aspect better where the story is much more of a priority because Destiny has always been more of a gameplay like mechanic experience. Right. That happens to have interesting lore, all that stuff. Yeah. So, and so I really like the game. I am not bored with it at all. The skill trees are surprisingly vast. Like honestly, and I kind of got the vibe that this was going to happen. And that's why I hated seeing such a misunderstanding of this game because the beta is not a good representation of the game.
It was a really, really poor representation of everything that was there.
It like the base, the most base level. It was like, okay, yeah, you're going to be playing these characters. This is how it feels to fly as Iron Man. And this is what the combos feel like and everything. Like the most base level foundational realm of gameplay. The beta was like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm in for. But there's so much more. Right. And there's just been such a lack of, it's not even a lack of communication. Right. It's just a lack of understanding because you don't have to dig far to understand, like, because the average person is like, oh, they're going to make us pay for all of these. There's all these battle passes. They're going to make us pay for all these characters. Like even you, Jake, there was a misunderstanding, and I'm not taking a dig at you. I'm just like using it as a point because you're pretty informed. You didn't know that the post-launch characters battle pass, the challenge cards are free, but there's a premium track. Like you have to pay the $10 is to get the premium aspect of each challenge card post-launch.
Is that still right?
That's still right. As far as I know. And again, see, just to make my point,
I'm still confused, but this is still to your point. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's still to my point. There is stuff that just, whether it's not communicated well or people just aren't actively seeking the answers. Like there's a misunderstanding, but there's also, for the most part, a lack of effort to understand. Right. And I would say that this game deserves your understanding. Because they did try to faithfully recreate these heroes. I would say they did faithfully recreate these heroes, and I've had a great time. And people are just under the impression that this is another one of those games as service titles that's trying to milk you for all you're worth because of all the microtransactions. And honestly, there are microtransactions. Yeah. None of it affects gameplay. There are costumes, yes, but everything can be. It's like Warframe. Yeah. All the microtransactions are shortcuts. That's for the most part.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint is how much of those elements there are But my caveat is, and what I mean by that is like there are a lot of the microtransactional stuff and like typical games of service gotcha things. But my caveat is, even though it feels egregious because it's just everywhere, it's like, oh, you got to buy that skin. Oh, you got to do that. Like you said, none of it affects gameplay. It is all cosmetic stuff. But on top of that, by completing the challenge cards, which, as you said, are free if you for the first 6 characters or whatever, you can unlock a certain amount of credits to spend in the stores to even if when the next character comes out, you can buy their challenge card, which will unlock you more stuff. And it's
all shortcut based. The microtransactions are shortcuts. If you spend time with the game, you don't have to spend a dime other than buying the game. Right. And honestly, like games like Destiny and kind of Division, but not so much because Division just kind of overall lacks content. Destiny does a good job of releasing stuff consistently, but they charge you for it every time. To opt into playing this new stuff, you have to pay a premium. But with this game, their plan, what is being advertised, their goal is for the game to not force you to opt in, like to buy. To play the game, there is not a premium. There is, you purchase the game and you have the game. So the bills have to be paid, and that happens through these shortcuts because there are people that are whales who money is not really an object to them. They would rather have the stuff than spend the time, and that's fine for them. But for a lot of people, they just can't and don't want to have to spend money to unlock Hawkeye or the next missions or year 2 of content or whatever. And so it is the most accessible way to do this. It's you just got to think realistically. The bills have to be paid, and this is the best way to do it if they're going to realistically keep this game alive.
Yeah. So I'm going back and forth in my head of like, would I rather pay for each new character and not have as much of this in there, or would I rather be getting all that for free? And basically, would I rather have what we have right now, or would I rather pay for each hero and not have as much of this like microtransaction-y stuff in there? And it's not. I feel like we really are in the better universe if you want to look at it that way. But
and I mean, I've played games that really push the microtransactions. Like you play games like Fortnite and even like Fall Guys.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that push to premium. I don't feel that from Avengers because it never pushes you to the marketplace. Come to think of it, I haven't been to the marketplace once.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's just there if you want to use it, if you want to look at it, but it's never like, hey, come spend some money. It never does that.
You're right.
And oh my God, that's a bear. Sorry.
Are you sure it's not a moose, Steven?
It's a bear.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure.
I'm trying to build my house. The blood moon is tonight. Please go away, Mr. Bear. He is so freaking big. Oh my God. Okay.
I'm just telling you right now, the gameplay podcast is probably happening.
It's happening.
I can tell you right now, I'm already bought on to this idea.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, I said this when we had the beta happening. This game, if you're going to just hate on it and just be like, no, I don't want that crap, it's garbage, all that blah, 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 all that stuff, at least be informed. I'm not saying that you're wrong to say that it's a bad game or you don't want it. I'm saying you're wrong if you haven't done your research and you haven't put in the work. Because I've seen all these people that just misunderstand the game. And what's happening, at the end of the day is a game that people have worked very hard on and in a lot of ways nailed it. They really did. A lot of the people that worked on this game did a fantastic job, and I don't have many bad things to really say about it. I think it's a great game. It's a solid 8 for me.
It's a solid 8. There you go.
But what's happening because these people who are ignorant and don't take the time to just learn about this thing that they talk like they know everything about, this game is suffering. These developers, these people who made this game are suffering because they're not being given a fair chance. And that happens a lot, unfortunately. But I would just urge everyone, look into it before you speak like, I don't like this about the game. Make sure that you're right, because there is a lot of hearsay that's happening and a lot of it is wrong. I can tell you right now that I'm not a fan of games that don't value my time. That's really important to me. Games need to value my time. And I hate it when games are constant, like predatory with trying to get me to spend money. I hate both of those things. And I feel like this game, it values my time in the sense to where I feel like I'm constantly pushing forward with what I do. And I don't feel like I have to do any specific one thing at a time.
Right.
So it values my time in that it gives me the freedom to basically do whatever I want in the game, like content wise, as long as I'm like making sure to do those aerial kills as Iron Man to work on his challenge card while I'm doing it, stuff like that. You're constantly pushing forward without being forced to find a group with stuff. Like it values my time.
Yeah.
And it isn't predatory with taking my money. And that's really important, especially right now, because the reason this game is suffering from a PR standpoint, the reason people are misunderstanding it and not really taking the time to understand it is because games have abused that in the past, like Destiny, to an extent, The Division, all that stuff. And so there has become a stigma that this is how these games are. This is how the industry is. And it's cheating the system in a way in our favor. It is a pro-consumer games as service title. And a lot of you that disagree with me are probably just like, all right, Steven, you're fanboying a little bit too much. You need to be realistic. I'm serious.
Well, I think I don't know that they're suffering necessarily. I think at least so it is interesting how, different our circles can be, even though we use the same social media platforms. But I would say that the majority of people have been praising the game and saying like, wow, I played the beta, and the beta was, like you just said, was a horrible representation of what this game is.
Right.
Like it is, now that I've played it, now that I've done this, it's so much better. And sure, there are some people, like I've seen a lot of people talk about bugs. And I've also seen,
I haven't really seen any bugs.
I haven't played enough to really say that, but it's good to hear you say that. But it's funny. I saw a post of somebody that was like, man, this new Marvel's game, it's so freaking buggy. It's the most buggy game I've ever seen. Right below that was and they didn't respond to this. It just happened to be how my feed was laid out. Was a post from the Marvel team, and they were like, hey, here's a link to our Discord. If you are having any glitches or bugs, like we are taking a look at it. There's a list on here of all the known issues, blah, 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 blah. And so it's just like, they're working on it. They love the game. You can tell by the characters and the story that they've done that they care about these characters and that they're trying to do justice by this content. And you listen to a War Table, they'll give you a lesson on all the comics that this person has ever aired, and I love it too. So I think they're trying to make the best game they can, and I think they've made a great game so far, and I can't wait to dive more into it. So
I agree with that, and like I see things like over on my end of the spectrum. Also, I chopped down a tree and it landed on the bear.
Nice.
But the circles I see are people who are just like, this game doesn't understand comics at all. Thor can hover in this game. It's like they've never read a comic. It's like, okay, one, you're wrong. And two,
Number
like,
one, you're wrong. Number two,
why? Even if you weren't wrong, that is the stupidest criticism I've ever heard of a game, of anything.
Right.
Get off the internet. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm seeing. And ultimately, like, I do think they had a good launch. I think they did. But the game is in a very delicate spot where
what comes
next, people need to opt in and like keep talking about it, keep playing it, and like not let one side like basically when the next console generation comes out, we need to still be talking about Avengers, because otherwise people are going to move on, and then they may not have the support that they need to keep the promise of a non-premium experience alive.
Right.
Because, people who psychologically, you're more likely to write a bad review about something than you are to write a good review, because bad experiences stick with us, because we don't give out, well, I say we don't give out medals for doing what's expected of us, but participation medals exist.
Right.
But we don't say, wow, what a good job to somebody for doing their job right. But we do say, you're terrible for doing it wrong. And likewise, people hold a grudge if they have a bad experience. So the people who hate this game without having ever played it before, they're going to be the ones probably that are talking about how much they hate the game longer than the people who liked the game and liked the game just fine and played actively. So we need to make sure that we do talk about what we like, do talk about what we don't like, but make sure that we praise the good, so that there can be more good. Because right now, I'm worried that eventually those negative voices are going to be the majority, and then the paradigm will shift. So that's my concern.
I'm not as concerned. I think it's only going to get better from here, because I
hope so.
There was an update recently, and again, I have not been able to play recently, but there was some update that apparently fixed a lot of problems that some people were having issues with. So I don't even know what those were, but they're going to keep working on it. They're going to make it better, and that's just how these kind of games go. Maybe you didn't buy it at launch, but maybe when Spider-Man comes out, it's like, okay, this is my time. This is the time to jump in. Maybe when you get your PS5 and you're like, new game I need to play, let's get that Marvels. Yeah, let's try this.
I'll tell you right now, as far as games as service titles are concerned, it had a great launch.
Yeah.
Destiny, Division, Anthem, whatever. The story is almost always the same. It launches a buggy mess, and it takes them time to fix it. And I said, when this game was launching, when it was getting close to time, I said, if they can just stick the landing, make this game fun, and make it relatively bug free, make it to where the experience, the thing you take away from it is not, wow, that looks bad, wow, that feels bad, but I can't wait for what comes next.
Yep, and that is
they did that. They definitely did that, and I'm going to be honest. No one, not a single person, probably except for the team working on it, because fingers crossed, I'm sure, but no one would have thought that Avengers would be the one to break that curse.
Right? No, we were all very worried about it. So
yeah,
I'm glad.
But they did.
They did it, and I want to go play more of it, Steven. So we got to stop talking about it. All right.
Yeah.
It's great. If you haven't played it, go play it. It's wonderful. Speaking of, we have to praise the good so that more good will come. Let me talk quickly about The Boys Season 2. This is an Amazon Prime TV show. Season 1 came out, was awesome. It's kind of a look at what if superheroes were corrupt and were run by big money corporations and all this and that. Season 2 is great. I've only watched one episode so far, but it is more of the same boys crazy action. Steven,
boys being boys, guys being dudes,
the whole 9 yards. So it's really good. I'm excited to see where this season goes. If anyone has any good recommendations for hey, I watched this guy on YouTube who did a recap of season 1, I'd love to drop that link in the comments, because I'd love to go watch that. The show provides you a really quick recap, but I need a little bit more in depth, because they just showed clips again. They didn't explain what was happening.
Yeah.
So
a lot happens in season 1, to the point to where it does not feel like a season 1.
No.
It feels like at least a season 3 or 4.
It's a great show. I can't wait to see where this season goes and keeps going. But and then obviously I got to play more Avengers so I can catch up to Steven, so we can start doing some missions. We're gonna have to do this raid at some point, and I've just got to catch up to you. So we got a long way to go. And then Steven,
and that's why I'm not playing all of my characters too much to keep their gear score down with you so that I don't have to drag you through the world. I've been playing a lot of Iron Man because he's like my one character that like he's my main.
Right.
So I've been playing him a lot so that I can level him up and have a high level character when it's finally time for us to hit the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'll try and catch up to you. So, Steven, you've also been playing some Division. There was a new skyscraper update. Do you want to talk to me a little bit about that?
So the update isn't out yet, but they're doing a public test server for Title Update 11. Title Update 11 is going to include the Summit, which is the skyscraper mode that they have been working on for a while. And I've talked about it before. Basically, you have 100 floors on a skyscraper, and you are trying to get from floor 1 to floor 100. Each 10 floors, you get a boss. Each 3 floors, you get a checkpoint. All that kind of stuff. It's random every time. And by that, I mean, we died on one of the floors. And we went back in, we being me and Jeremy. We went back in, and those floors that we played were different. So it's completely random. So random objectives, random rooms. Basically a replayable game mode meant to just take, like, it is, here's problem, offer your solution. That is how these games need to be for me. Because the problem for me with a lot of these games is that it's here's the problem. The internet says to do this, and that's how you win. That's how raids are. So this game is desperately needed. Like, with such a good build creation system, this game needed a mode that gives you a playground to test your builds. And this mode is that. It's nothing like new.
Right.
Like it's a lot like Underground from Division 1 if you've played that. But just because it doesn't reinvent the wheel doesn't mean it's not something that this game desperately needed.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun. Jeremy and I had a blast. If you and I don't play Avengers after recording this, Jeremy and I are probably going to play some Summit on the PTS. So looking forward to that. But it's really good. I'm very hopeful for Title Update 11. What's probably going to happen is they're probably going to do. Oh gosh, that was loud thunder clap. I didn't know that could happen. But they're probably going to do at least one more PTS phase, just to make sure that Title Update 11 is ready to go live. And then when it does, everyone will have access to Summit, and it's going to be a great time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really like horde modes, stuff like that, where you're going up or going down, and it just gets harder. I don't know why. And that's such a good design.
Yeah, it's such a simple, fun, replayable kind of mode, and they did such a good job of committing to its style, because when you go there, you are in the lobby of this skyscraper called the Summit. That's why the mode is called the Summit. But when you go up the elevator, it plays elevator music as you go up to the next series of floors, and it shows you like your progress and stuff. So it very much feels like I don't know what to compare it to. I would say something like Judge Dredd or The Raid Redemption, where you're just in this tower of hell, but it commits to the aesthetic of being a skyscraper in New York that has elevator music when you climb it, like stuff like that. It's just really stylistically done.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot of fun.
Well, good. I'm glad you are still having fun in Division.
Okay.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Chortlecast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can leave a like on this video, share it with your friends, leave us a comment, all that good stuff. You can also, if you're watching this on Facebook, you're watching on at Chortle Games on Facebook. You can like, share, tag, all that good stuff. Share this out with your friends. We love seeing comments. And then you can also find us on Twitter at Chortle Games as well. And then we also live stream on Twitch at No, I'm sorry. Twitch.tv/Chortle_games. So we do all sorts of live content. The podcast airs every Monday at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time. But then throughout the week, we do live streams. Typically, we do a live stream Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all starting around 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time-ish. It's very flexible. This week, we're going to be doing that same sort of schedule, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I will be there for the Friday stream. I may be there for the Thursday stream, but we are still planning to have those. Friday will almost definitely be Marvel's Avengers with probably me, or well, definitely with me, maybe Steven. And then we'll see where the rest of the weekend takes us, but it's going to be good stuff. Expect lots of Avengers in the future because I'm sure we're going to be wanting to play that as much as possible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Steven, thank you for being here as always.
Of course.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.